Yeah, or Kris Kringle, and I was sitting
Right.
there going like, dude, it's practically like a fucking Western in that way.
Oh, it absolutely is. Yeah, there's even like a lot of scenes with the hitman played by Walton Goggins, of just him like traveling to the North Pole to get to Santa Claus to kill the guy. Like just simple stuff of him like listening to the radio, picking up slushies on the road, just stuff like that. Like I really appreciated that too.
It kind of like the scenes when in like No Country for Old Men, when Javier Bardem is like traveling across looking for a guy. You know, he's like hitting up the gas station, having like strange interactions with people where they're like, that guy was kind of creepy.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that. So it's kind of like that. So it's got a little bit of like an indie crime like aesthetic thing going on to it. Yeah. And it's kind of surprising how well they managed to fit like the idea of, you know, sort of like the magic of Santa into that, because obviously like you would think that like it doesn't really, you know, you would think it has to be like a full out like Tim Allen the Santa Claus thing, you know,
right? Kind of like a little wackier.
Yeah, you would think that you have to go into like the full blown like Santa has his own aesthetic and here's what the North Pole looks like and all of this, but instead they just make it like, again, it's Mel Gibson playing Santa Claus.
Yeah.
So they have to, you know, we're introduced to him doing like target practice on a small farm where he's like grizzled and dirty.
Yeah,
and like
I love his physical look, because it's not like he's definitely, you know, a little bit bigger for like what we're used to from Mel Gibson, but he's got this more like big muscular Italian man with a wife beater kind of thing going on, with like a gold chain and like this really awesome gray and white beard that's super not trimmed, but just shaped in such a very masculine way, as opposed to like Santa's more bushy kind of uncontrolled beard. He looks kind of like a Russian gangster or something like that. It's great.
Yeah, and I mean he's like eating like gingerbread cookies while he's driving to go like pick up his mail from the local place, and like his beat up like 69 like red Ford. Yeah. He's talking to Mrs. Claus about his like strained credit line.
Yeah, exactly. Like that. And like the troubled times of like the youth, they don't have the same spirit they had before, and they're all naughty. It's
the youth are like evil little boys, like the little boy who's like torturing a girl for like beating him in the science fair, and he's dressed up in like his little suit, and he's honestly doing like a little bit of like a Ben Shapiro voice thing a little bit too,
for sure. Yeah, and he's great in it. I thought the little kid was
good. I thought he was really good.
Yeah.
Just the way that he acts very adult like, and he acts like he would later grow up and be kind of like a kind of like evil little mob boss kind of character.
yeah, absolutely. Like it's great.
And Walton Goggins is like very eccentric hitman too, who, you know, is very kind of quirky while he's going around and like shooting people in their beds, and the violence pretty bloody.
Yeah, and they also use, at least I thought it was, it seemed that they used a lot of squib work, which was cool.
I think it was.
Yeah, it just adds, once again, like we've talked about, it adds that layer of just realism to the gunshots and the violence. And so when you see somebody like, especially later on when Walter Goggins is in like the red or the white coat, when you see like just that pure red dripping down the white coat and it kind of explode when he gets shot and stuff like that, it's just more effective, and I always love to see it.
Yeah, it's weirdly it's crazy. We're talking about a movie where obviously, again, a hitman is out to kill Santa Claus, and we're gonna kind of be praising it for some of its sort of like groundedness.
Yeah, no kidding.
Some of it's like just straight up practical action effects, and you know, some of the ways that it brings the idea of a magical Santa Claus like into a indie crime action revenge style film. I even like just conversations where he gets into where he's talking about like the contract that he has with the US government to like supply product. And they're just like, well, your budget was dictated by the amount of product that you deliver. And he's like, well, he's not delivering enough product anymore because the kids are getting naughtier. Yeah.
Those little shitheads, man.
And then he starts complaining about how a lot of his clients are using child labor for toys and stuff like that.
And I also love
at one point we see the elf factory, which basically just looks like a straight up like steel manufacturing factory or something like that.
One of my favorite shots of this movie is when he gets them all together, and so it's it's lit like a very dark and gross factory, and Santa Claus is over top like the kind of the upper staircase or whatever, talking to the elves, and the elves, they have this shot of them getting excited. And it's their feet. It's a close up of their feet, kind of doing like shaking their bells in happiness. But it's surrounded by this really dark setting and atmosphere. And it reminded me of like when I used to work at Walmart when I was like 16, 17. And every once in a while they'd have these meetings, and you'd have to.